Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today's webinar is Proven Strategies for Boosting Retail Sales. My name is Debbie Miller, and I'm going to be hosting the webinar today, and we are so glad that you joined us. Let me just remove that. Sorry about that. That's been popping up a lot lately. Make that go away. Okay. So, just a couple of housekeeping issues that I want to talk about first. Your speakers must be turned on to hear this. However, you are muted, and we do that just so that it cuts down on background noise, just in case anybody puts us on hold. We don't listen to your wonderful hold music. And throughout the webinar, if you do have any questions at all, please send them to our Shortcuts Facebook page, www.facebook.com/shortcutsusa. Just a little bit about our webinar series, if this happens to be the first time that you are joining us. Shortcuts webinar series were really created to help all salon businesses increase the number of guests that come in. We also focus on getting the guests that are coming in to return and to return more often, as well as increase the spend, which ultimately impacts your revenue. And that's really what today's focus is on, because today's retail webinar does focus on impacting your revenue as well as retention. If you're not familiar with Shortcuts, we do provide a point of sale system as well as online marketing, which is fully integrated into our system. And currently we work with over 14,000 salons, spas, barbershops worldwide. And so one of the ways that we like to help not only our clients but other people in the industry is by offering free webinars to the beauty industry. So what we do is we bring ideas, we talk about some successes that our clients have, and we also talk about some of the obstacles that are out there. So not only are we so glad that you could join us today, but this site is still growing, so we would really appreciate it that if you listened to today's webinar and you enjoyed it, please go on our Facebook page, share, give us some comments, talk about it a little bit on your Facebook page, because we're really trying to grow this. The more people that come on board, the more ideas we have. Also, these webinars are all recorded. So if you visit our website, you can access not only this recording, but we also have a library of resources of all past webinars. So it's a great chance that, if you like what you hear today, you can pull up the recording, you can do a whole meeting in your salon about this topic as well as others. Okay, so let's get to what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to be talking about 5 points for boosting your retail sales. The first area that we're going to be talking about is really motivating clients to want to buy from you, and specifically you. Why you? Why you as opposed to the grocery store, drugstore, or big box, beauty store or online. We're also going to be talking about loyalty programs, because we do understand that loyalty programs are your best defense, and we're going to be adding the element of gamification. We'll talk a little bit more about gamification. We're going to talk about lines of retail defense. So I've got some hot tips. I've got some best practices that have worked for myself in the past, as well as other Shortcuts clients. We'll also go into building some targeted email marketing campaigns, really communicating to your clients. And it's so critical that we talk about how to target not only this communication, but how to target these campaigns so that they really, really provide results for you. And then the last area is we're going to talk about the results. And, do you know that the consumer is responding to what you're doing? And if they're not responding, what are you going to do about it? So I want to start off by asking 3 questions. Are you stressed about the declining retail sales in your business? Are you tired of the constant battle with your staff not making recommendations to their clients and you and them missing out on revenue and the benefits of retail? Or maybe you're perhaps like most today who are very nervous about the rise of e-commerce, which has completely turned the retail game on its head by taking your clients, right? So your clients come in, they get advice from you, right? But then they go and they buy somewhere else. So if you answered yes to any one of those questions, right, you're in the right place. But before we can actually get started and tackle these challenges, I think that it's important to address the elephant that's in the webinar. And here's the elephant in the webinar. Most salon professionals hate to sell, and most customers hate to be sold to. So in other words, most salon professionals really don't want to be pushy, or some consider themselves an artist, not a salesperson. And most customers are turned off by the slick or gentle push to buy products that they don't even know that they need. So let's talk about, not only the elephant in the webinar, but let's really get down to business and how do we motivate our clients to buy from us. And granted, to be successful in the beauty industry, you've got to be comfortable with selling. But there's a type of selling that really reaps the most rewards, and that's the consultative sell. So it's just not, talking about getting comfortable with selling retail products, because all salon professionals know that they have to sell themselves, they have to sell the look, they have to sell the products, they have to sell the technique. So motivating clients to want to buy from you means that really you don't have to sell to them, which means that first I have to change how I think about retailing. So the first aha for me, I was behind the chair for, if you don't know me from Adam, I myself was behind the chair for 31 years, and I hated retail. I hated it because I hated selling and I didn't want to be pushy, right? So the first thing that I had to do was really have this shift in the way that I thought about retail. And so I've got some W questions up there because these W questions are really the backbone to any successful retail program that you have, and it's really the best place to start. So let's start with the why. The why is the most important question, and it's got to be my why. It can't be my salon owner's why. My salon owner has their own why, and that's great. Okay, they can totally own that. But as a salon professional or even a booth renter, right, I have to have my why, because if I don't get that why, nothing else matters. Why is it important to me? And for myself, this is where I had like my biggest aha about retail. This is actually a true story. I was in the grocery store with my husband one day and I ran into a client. And I don't know if anybody on this webinar listening has ever run into a client outside of the salon. And she looked horrendous. Her hair was a tragic nightmare. She was a lovely woman. She came, she greeted us. I introduced her to my husband. She walked away, I'll see you Friday, okay? And my husband turned to me and he said, she actually gives you money so you can do that to her hair. And he wasn't trying to be mean, but like I got the point. I got it right then and there in the middle of the grocery store because I thought, holy cow, my client is walking around. She's actually my business card, right, with my name all over her head. And here's the second part of that aha. When I learned that the average person actually comes in contact with 8 to 10 people a day. Holy cow. I mean, if I averaged, knowing that the average person comes into contact with 8 to 10 people a day, and I average, let's say I average 8 clients a day, right? Well, that's 64 to 80 people a day that are seeing my work, right? Okay, let's take this to the next level. I work in the salon 5 days. That's 300 to 400 people a week seeing my work. I mean, that to me completely changed how I felt about retail. But, guys, that's my why. And it's really important. If you're a salon owner listening to this webinar, your job as a leader is to really help your people find their why. That was mine. And if that story helps you in this quest to help your team, go for it. So what's in it for the client, right? Well, that's pretty obvious because they look great, they've got confidence, and you can always tell that because you can always see how different, right, the body language is when the client walks out compared to how they walked in. They also you have this ability to build trust, right? So they get compliments, they trust you, makes them feel good, and ultimately there's value there because they get success every time they try to recreate what you've done for them. And what about you? So I've got my why, so what's in it for me? Well, the the revenue is an obvious one, but there's something more than the money because it impacts my retention. It impacts my frequency. So people not only will stay with me, but they'll come back more often. It impacts my referrals. So, people will ask them more about who did their hair. They'll feel confident about sending me business. And retail sales and add-on services kind of go hand in hand, right? Because I'm using this consultative sell. So let's talk a little bit more about this consultative sell because it really, starts with uncovering or identifying the challenges that the client is having with their hair, with their skin, with their makeup, with their nails, right? So there's a couple different types of selling. There's the consultative sell that we're really going to focus on. There's also something called push selling. And push selling is what's product centric. So your focus when you push sell, your focus is what you want to sell, and then you actually go and you sell it. Or in other words, you push it on the customer. Pull selling is more consumer centric. So your focus is on the customer and what you're doing is recommending solutions to their problems, but you've got to pull their problems out, right? Look, let me be honest with you. Both styles work, right? You just need to find what is comfortable for you. And to be honest with you, pull selling is much easier and it doesn't feel like selling. So most people feel that pull selling is actually better for them. So the way that I like to explain it is kind of in terms of seeing a doctor, right? So your leg hurts and you go to the doctor. And the doctor asks you some questions and then probably writes you a prescription. But a consultative doctor would really want to be sure to know what the underlying problem is. So they may ask you a number of questions to better understand and even do some tests in order to correctly diagnose the problem and then go on to prescribe something for you in terms of the solution. So there's three parts here of the consultative conversation. The first part is you got to find the need. So you take interest and you ask questions, and you can't fulfill the need unless you first find the need. So it's as simple as asking your client, like, what types of problems are you having with your hair? Or another approach that I used to use all the time would be, especially with a new client, is tell me about the products that you're using. And they talk about the products that they're using. And then the follow-up question was always, and are you happy with the results? And if the client said, actually, no, I'm really not happy, that was the vacuum, right? That was the open door that allowed me then to help the client learn about a new approach, some new products. And I also, when I found the need, right, so I'm going to fill the need, but I want to use my knowledge to prescribe the solution here. So as professionals, we begin to build our credibility with knowledge because you've got to be able to demonstrate that you understand what's going on, and you've got to be able to bring some technical knowledge to the conversation. And not only technical knowledge, but bring some fresh ideas to the table as well. So things like, when my client says that their hair is too dry and I recommend a treatment, I would also recommend a strategy that gives you daily protection as well as maybe a once a week treatment, focusing on replenishing the moisture back because I know that you use a flat iron every day. And the third part here, so first I find the need. Second, I fill the need, right? I use my knowledge. I make my professional recommendation. I back it up with some facts that I know, right? But third, make it human. Like personal stories, benchmarks. I saw results in 4 weeks. Makes your hair 56% stronger. And here's the powerhouse of them all. Guarantee results or money back. So you want to guarantee that your client is going to have the results, or they can bring the product back, exchange it for something else. Storytelling always made it personal, and storytelling is what really worked for me. And I would tell people, actually, if I used that product, right, I would tell them how I used it and why I used it and the results that I got. And, you know, speaking of keeping it real and speaking of keeping it human, I just have to be completely honest with you, because most clients don't buy because they were not asked to. As a matter of fact, Modern Salon did a study on this many years ago, and they found that 90% of clients that didn't buy from the salon where they actually got their color or their haircut or whatever service it was because they weren't invited to. And know this, because this is really important too, that if they didn't buy from you during that visit, know that they will buy. Oh yes, they will buy. 80% of all the clients that come in to see you, if they didn't buy from you because they were not invited, they will buy somewhere else. It will either be online, it could be a drugstore, it could be another salon, it could be a grocery store. Who knows where, you know, where that place will be, but they will buy, and it probably will be in a 5-mile radius. So, you know, today's consumers can sit on their couch, they can use their mobile phone, they can jump online, they can have it drop shipped by a drone to their porch in 2 hours. So that's what you're competing against, and that's why that invitation is so critical. Moneycrashers.com said that the growth of e-commerce has really stimulated new buying behaviors, specifically for men. And I think that's so true, because I work with a lot of barbershop chains in this industry, and retail, you know, historically has been very low in these environments, but we know that 70% of affluent males regularly shop online, right? So when Money Crashers actually asked about their mobile shopping habits, 45% of men said that yes, they'd likely to buy from a mobile ad, and that's compared to only 34% of women. So the beauty and personal care industry is a rapidly growing segment of the U.S. e-commerce industry. It's convenient, they deliver free, easy returns, a wider product selection, and access to other shoppers' opinions. That's huge. People are online and sharing, and they've created this very attractive alternative, or at least a very strong competition to the in-store experience. So the only way that I can fight this is by inviting my clients to purchase what I know they need. So here's your first hot tip. Throughout this webinar, I'm going to be giving you a lot of hot tips here. And this is one that really worked great for me when I was in the salon, because like I said, you know, even before I had my aha about retail, it was so hard for me to just know about all these products, right? I would look on the retail shelves and there were just so many SKUs of products. So here's what I did. I would pick just maybe 1 or 2 products every week, and I'd learn as much as I could about those products. I'd use it myself if it pertained to me, and I would develop a story. Not a false promise, but kind of my own story. And if it wasn't about me, if it was a product that I wouldn't use, I'd tell a story about the success that maybe another one of my coworkers had or my client had. And you know, that really is it's a approach that allows you to break down hundreds of SKUs of products into a manageable bite-sized approach. So pick 1 or 2 products a week, learn about it, talk about it, show it, use it, touch it, smell it, and it works. So the second part here that I want to talk to really speaks to gamification and how technology has transformed the beauty industry. One of the best ways to keep your clients engaged is using gamification. And if you're not familiar with what gamification is, it's using game design elements. Things like point scoring, it could be using colors, traffic signals, hand signals, and it's automated. And the concept is really applying game mechanics and game design techniques to engage and motivate people to achieve their goals. And gamification, we know today, taps into the basic desires and needs of people's impulses. And that comes a lot from people, using their smartphones so much or iPads. So most likely, like I said, you've already had some type of experience with gamification. And gamification is really the key of these large box retail centers. They do it so well, right? So the gaming component here is that you can try it before you buy it. And consumers get that experience along with the entertainment and education. And everyone looks good, right? And they make it a lot of fun. And it might be some type of try before you buy on an end cap. And another way to look at gamification too is think about all the recent videos that are out there, YouTube videos that are out on Facebook about braiding hair. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I jump on Facebook and I'm watching something really magical, right? It could be a new braid. It could be the application of makeup. You see those all the time as well. So L'Oreal Paris just launched a beauty app called Makeup Genius, and it's really cool. I just downloaded it on my smartphone just to test this out. But what this does is it's a really good example of gamification, because what it does is it transforms the front-facing camera of an iPhone or an iPad into a virtual mirror where the users can try products on virtually. And this app uses advanced facial mapping technology, gamification, that's previously only been used like in Hollywood in the gaming industry to overlay products like lipstick or eyeliner or eyeshadow, and it's really cool. So I could see what I looked like with heavy black eyeliner, cat eyes, or that Urban Decay bright green eyeshadow. And it makes it fun because gamification is exciting, because it promises to make the hard stuff in life fun. So if you're a shortcuts user today, we have elements of gamification in our Smart Onsole online console. And the point here, guys, is there's a new approach to engaging the consumer as well as engaging the salon professional. So I want to sweeten the deal. I want to take retail to a completely different level. And a great way to sweeten the deal here is through offering your clients a loyalty program. And the value is leveraging the knowledge of their past histories or their past purchases that the stylist, the salon professional, right, can use to upsell or close retail sales. And loyalty programs are the best way to reward behaviors. That's really what a loyalty program is all about, rewarding a certain type of behavior. The more you spend, the more points you earn. And those points can be used to re-spend, right, or reinvest in your look, or perhaps a new look, but not down the street, right, not online. And it truly is your best defense for diversion in keeping those dollars in your business. So if you already have a loyalty program, think about this, guys. Think about gamifying your loyalty program, perhaps automating it with some type of entertainment value. I mean, there's 6 billion people on the planet, and 4 billion of them have a mobile device. So this may be the best way to engage your audience. And guys, this could be as simple as sending an SMS message, right? Like, boom, with a congratulations, yeah, you just hit 10,000 points. And whatever it is, whether it's, 10,000 or 100, right? The best loyalty programs are the ones that are easy for the consumer to win. So the more your client is able to redeem their points for the products and services within your business, the less that they'll have the need to go elsewhere. Well, here's the truth. Will this stop them from going online completely? No, but you're going to really cut down on the share that you lose to the e-commerce. And that brings us to our last point, and that's value. And salon owners and employees really still believe that customers are swayed by price. But the research that I've done and continue to do still uncovers that it really is more about value. So here's another bright idea. Here's another hot tip for you. Loyalty is just not for your clients. Let's talk about that value, right? And if you are a salon owner, or even if you are a booth renter who purchases their own professional stock, what about your suppliers? Why can't I be a part of a loyalty program there? And most salon owners remember the time, right, when you purchased a certain threshold of professional products and you were given a heavily discount or even free back bar. That's the same concept of loyalty, right? Rewarding the salon owner's allegiance to that supplier. So, hey, I'm just saying, people in business today, and all of you on this webinar, you are in business today. We expect some sort of acknowledgement and reward for staying a loyal customer. Okay, moving right along here, let's talk about point 3. I talked a little bit about L'Oreal's Makeup Genius app. Another thing that I found that L'Oreal is doing that's, I think, pretty interesting is that they're using data and analytics to help identify beauty trends early, because it's really important. Like, the best line of retail defense is watching trends, getting ahead of it, right? Not being behind. So a really good example would be what they did in what we call the dip-dyed hair, which emerged as a search term on Google, right, long before it became a popular trend of what we call today the ombre. So L'Oreal could see, like, there was this huge movement and interest. And they thought, hey, wait a minute, maybe there's something here. So what they did was they got in front of that trend and they created a product called, now my French is really bad, so excuse me, Preference Les Ombres. And it sold over 50 million units in the first 2 years. So how does that relate to you? Well, let me ask you, are you selling a lot of flat irons? How many highlights do you guys average in a week? Finding that trend, right, and playing to it could be anything from developing maybe a color club to a promotion of retail products. And that could be part, watching trends could have something to do with the weather, or it could have something to do with holidays. Another form of gamification is contests with all sorts of measurements that show performance or point scoring, competition with others, right? Identifying the rules of play. So think about other ways to measure this, right? Because it doesn't have to be about who sold the most, right? It could be most improved retail sales, or it could be the number who had the most clients, right, that signed up for a loyalty program. So there's all different ways to gamify the contests that you guys do in the salons. Shelf talkers. Shelf talkers, I think, are like the most underutilized tool in the retail area today. And, look, I'm not talking about the shelf talkers that have the name of the product, right, and how much it costs. I'm talking about really, making this fun and gamifying your shelf talkers. So, look, if you have a product and it's the number one product in your business, why not tell everyone it's the number one product on the shelf talker? I would put a big old gold star on that shelf talker, because people are attracted to that, right? Or think about, here's another really cool suggestion. If you guys are using Shortcuts online console and you're using the Spotlight client review platform, and you can actually have an authentic, right, review that a client said about a product, I'd put it right on that shelf talker. I think that's, absolutely incredible. And that's what people, that's how e-commerce is playing today. Another line of retail defense, and we're seeing this trend. I've been seeing this trend happen for the past 5 years, but it's really a shift Again, it's a shift in how you think, but it's a shift in how you're using your front desk line. So because we're seeing the growth of online booking, right, now we see that these front desk staff, they're not tied to the phone, right? So let's make them closers. So what we say to salon professionals is, salon professional, stop selling. Just don't try to sell, but do what you do better than anybody else in the salon, and that's educate your client on how to recreate or reproduce what you've done for them. So educate, give them that knowledge, share the stories, give them some facts, right? And then count on your front desk, count on that front line to close that sale for you. So here's another hot tip for you. This was something that worked for me tremendously in the salon, because I always had a problem, like when I had a client that was buying product A, B, and C, and then all of a sudden on my station they would see something new and I would be using it on them, and I've never used it on them before, and they would say, oh, now you want me to buy that too. So think about the products that you have, right? Think about all the products that you have as a collection. So for instance, if you look at the image of the girl with the smooth, sleek, straight hair, there would be a certain amount of products, right, that would be relevant to that look. So it would start with the shampoo, right? It would start with the shampoo and the conditioner, right? To start providing her with the elements that keep her hair sleek. There would be a certain product that would give her hair that memory to stay in that straight and smooth condition. There would be a certain amount of hard tools. It would be a blow dryer, and it absolutely must have a nozzle on it, right? So what I've done is I've created this collection of products that my client needs to use to get that look. So what happens is now my client comes in 6 months later and they say, I know I used to love my hair to look like that, but now I want my hair to look like this. So it could be like all of a sudden they want some texture in their hair. And because the look changes, so does the collection. All of the tools, hard tools and soft tools, as well as the techniques. So a client, right, it's really possible for a client to have a couple different collections based on how they want that end result to look. And, you know, I've been throwing around the term e-commerce, and I want to dig in here because estimates that online purchases in the beauty category have well past $4 billion. So let's think about that. Let's think about who are today's online beauty shoppers and how often do they shop and what do they shop for and what motivates them to shop online. And there's actually a couple motivating factors that drive these online behaviors. So the first is what I call an information seeker. So this group of people, they roughly represent about 30%, right? They actively research information online, and that information, right, they bring that information and they bring that knowledge with them into the salon, and they use it to make a more informed purchase. And here's the thing that I think is really interesting about information seekers. Sometimes the level of information that these shoppers acquire online makes them more knowledgeable than the in-store beauty advisors or even the in-salon professionals, thus creating new challenges for us. So that new challenges means that, yes, we've got to know our stuff, because if we're not giving them that information, right, they're getting it online. Second type of buyer out there in e-commerce is what we call the online enthusiast. And this is a smaller group. This is roughly about 20%, but their motivation is different because their motivation is really fueled by the ability to gather information online. And it gives them, right, so they get all this information online, and then they have the opportunity to buy their favorite or new products because they learned something new, right, convenient and often at a better price. So these shoppers, they seek information, but here's the key. These online enthusiasts, not only do they make online purchases, but they interact online because they share, they post, they talk, and they blog. Oh yes, they buy, but they also broadcast how they feel or what they learned. And the third type of e-commerce buyer out there is what we call the creature of habit. This is the largest group. This represents about 50% of them, and they're shoppers who they know exactly what they want. They're comfortable with regularly replenishing their product needs from any online site. And they're really motivated by the convenience and the price. And they typically, this is what really blew me away, they typically shop monthly on a trusted online retail site. They don't really experiment with many new opportunities, but here's the great example, Amazon. And yes, they do believe in rewarding their loyal customers with their loyalty program called Amazon Prime. And that's why collections are so impactful, right? Because that's not what they're learning online. So it's really important, it's important to understand the point here. And the point is that consumers are seeking information and solutions for their problems. And if you don't invite them to purchase at the salon visit, know that they will buy. They will just buy from somewhere else. So a loyalty program is probably your best defense against e-commerce and discounts that the consumer can find out there. So just want to bear with me. I'm just going to check and see how everyone's doing. Got any questions here? Nope. Okay, cool. So we're going to keep rolling along here, guys. Part 4. Okay, so this is all about building targeted email campaigns. So let me just go back. I've had kind of this shift in the way that I think about retailing, and whether it's me, the salon professional, or me, the owner, right? I've had this shift, okay? So now I'm going to talk to my team about this new way of selling, this consultative sell, and I'm really going to make sure that I touch everyone in my organization to really identify the why, okay? So let's talk about how we're going to communicate this, okay? And if you stand in front of your retail area, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you really know what your clients are buying? Do you know why? And successful email marketing campaigns always start with a targeted marketing search. So you can learn one thing, and that's the purchasing habits of your clients. And that's what e-commerce online sites do better than anybody else. So a successful target marketing search really tells you what's selling. So it gives you the ability to strategically identify, and then market to these groups of people. And these groups of people, you can source them by maybe looking at their purchasing history. It could be products or services. It could be the demographics. Is that an interesting area? Do we have a pocket in our community of people who prefer a type of product or types of products or prices? Is it birthday? Is it age group? Is it gender? I don't know. I mean, you can slice and dice this until the cows come home. But the point here is, guys, you've got, especially if you're a shortcuts user today, you've got the ability to dig your heels in and really identify what's selling. And then you also want to find out, okay, well, what services are tied to those purchases? Because again, it's not a push sell, it's a pull sell. So a good example is I could run a targeted search, right, for all of my clients that have purchased a shampoo, but not a conditioner. So now I have a list of a target audience and an opportunity, right? And I want to position it right to reward the behavior. So if you buy that shampoo, right, I may give you the opportunity to have the corresponding conditioner, because I know that those two products in the collection work best, right? So I'm going to, offer you some type of promotional purchase if you buy that corresponding product. I could run a targeted search for all my clients who have received a cut and a color, but they didn't purchase, right, the shampoo and conditioner for color treated hair to take care of that. And here's my ultimate favorite one that I think that if you're going to do anything in the course of the next 4 weeks, this is the one to do. I run a targeted search for any client who has spent more than $1,000 or $1,500, whatever it is. You know, everyone's going to have their own number over the course of the last year. And this is what I do. I give them a preloaded $25 gift card to use on products. And I put that preloaded gift card in a little blue box with a white silk bow, and it's waiting for my clients when they come in. So you can search, you can do all types of queries, and all of your search results can be saved like in a generic format, and you can merge it with a marketing letter, you can do it with an email campaign, you could even do a text message. But the point here is finding your audience. And finding your audience is so critical because the point is that campaign is relevant to that group of people, right? So there's two components here. First of all, it's timely. It's, this guest just came in, they got this particular service, they bought this particular product, but they didn't buy the corresponding products to make the collection. So the other point is that it's relevant. And we talked earlier about, the weather and the holidays, right? Some of the really cool things to do is to bundle together a collection of products. Don't count on your clients, putting that collection together. Do it for them. So, for instance, if you could put a blow dryer, you could put a round brush, you could put some serums. I mean, you can do some unique collections, right, that are prepackaged for holiday people. And one of the best tricks of the trade is that take whatever is selling. So you find out you have this white hot product right on your shelf, and bundle something else with it. And the best way to get your clients to try a new product is to layer it, or what we call in the salon cocktailing. So the art of cocktailing, is all about combining multiple products either in the hand or on the head, and it needs a more customized approach, and that, guys, cannot be done in the drugstore. It cannot be done online. So that's what, makes these campaigns relevant. So, fifth part here, and the final point that I want to go into is, I think, such a great way to wrap up this webinar, because it's all about evaluating and optimizing your results with information. So I'm going to ask you two questions today. What do you know now about your retail business? And whatever it is that you know or you think you know about your retail business, how can you use this knowledge to optimize your retail strategy? So I want to talk a little bit about numbers, okay, because numbers are very important. And we hear and we read all about data, we hear terms like big data, but it's critical to understand what data is. Data, actually, is facts that are entered and stored into your computer. So a great example of data would be client name, right? Client first name, client last name, phone number, email, that's data. It could be the service type. So, Sally Jones received a lady's haircut, and that lady's haircut was $50. That's data. So information is a little different, guys, because information is that data, right? But it's been transformed, or it's been formatted or grouped. So it's data, but now it has meaning. So let me give you an example, okay? So here's data that's been transformed. So I've got my date range, right? I've got all my products down the left side, and here's the amount. That's really good information, okay? And here's another way to look at it too. So here's information, here's my date range, here's all of my data. I can clearly see that one product's outsold others, right? And some people like this because it's very visual. That's cool. It's data turned into information. But where I want you guys to go is someplace deeper, and that's knowledge. And when information is used for understanding, what happens is you start to identify what we call trend. And so evaluating and optimizing the results requires you the salon owner or even the salon professional to gain a certain type of knowledge about the past or a date range. So this is where information, right, is transformed to provide a deeper insight. So I've got an example up here of retail revenue, right? And I want to walk you through this really quickly. So yellow is last year, red's this year. So yeah, right off the bat, okay, I see that we are definitely trending a little bit lower in retail sales than we were last year. So first question I ask is, did we lose a critical team member? Maybe we lost one of the people on our staff that, you know, was very comfortable with talking about retail products. Did we shift product lines? Has there been something that's happened in price? Do we have some new competition that moved into the neighborhood? Again, these questions or these insights all promotes and prompts me into new insights. I like what I see, though, to be honest with you, because if you look at last year, we were kind of up and down all over the place. I see a little bit more stability here, okay? And what's super cool about this, by the way, this is on our online consult scorecard. And this is a really good example of analytical reporting. But what I see this white line is, this is all other shortcuts clients, okay? So this is a certain community, okay? We're doing much better than everybody else out there. And so when I have this knowledge at my next team meeting, what this does is this gives me the ability to share this with my team. So I'm going to challenge you guys to kind of dig in a little bit, learn a little bit more about what's selling off your shelves, why, and then come up with the insights and identify the trend. So I want to quickly recap here. Again, you got to know the why. You got to find the why. It all starts with that. You want to remove the awkwardness of selling, and you want to make the staff want to talk to the clients about the retail products by positioning the value of the consultative sell. So helping the client recreate. We also talked about addressing the challenge of keeping those retail dollars in your salon, and it really comes into the best way to combat e-commerce and diversion by developing a strong and relevant loyalty program. Some of the best lines of defense that we talked about were some strategies that helped you, whether it was in some of the promotions, the shift in looking at your front line, your reception area. And then we asked you to really dig in and, you know, get into the data, right? Slice and dice, identify what the trends are in your marketplace, and then again, review the results. Are you going to stay on that course, or are you going to change, and are you going to make some ultimate changes there? And, you know, guys, what we want to do with this webinar is we want to create this conversation. So please, you know, contact us, reach out to us. Our sales team is here. You can email us at sales@shortcuts.net. You can go on our Facebook page. If anything that we talked about today kind of resonated, you want to learn a little bit more, give us a call. But we can help you. We are the global leader in software technology for the beauty industry. We are located around the world. We have 24/7 unlimited phone support, and we've got a team here that's ready to have that conversation with you. But ultimately, we want to hear from you. So I really hope, first of all, I want to thank you for joining us today. And on behalf of all of us here at Shortcuts, have a fantastic week. I look forward to hearing from all of you. Again, go on our website, take a peek at our library of all of our recordings. And guys, I look forward to talking to you again real soon. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic day.